You could start a super PAC, put hundreds of millions of dollars into an effort to defeat, say, Sherrod Brown in Ohio or other candidates, or AIPAC. If you disagree with what Netanyahu is doing in Gaza, well, you're going to have to deal with AIPAC, who's prepared to spend $17 million in a bloody Democratic caucus. You want to stand up to AIPAC? Good luck to you. So that gets back to...
Once again, that is nothing but facts. How do you beat that? All right, before we get started, I want to give a big happy birthday to one of the homies in the Discord, longtime supporter, see the process from Chicago. Yes, in the heart of Chicago. I want to say thank you for your support. Turning big 40. Once again, in my opinion, turning 40 is the new 20 because you in your prime. You know what I'm saying? That's what us old folks say. That's our prime, guarantee. So once again, happy birthday. If you guys can, if you're watching this, go ahead in the comments down below. Say, hey, happy birthday, see the process. Thank you for your support. Now, I'm going to say something extremely obvious, okay? Like I don't want to assume people know things, because if you assume some things, then you're going to look like an asshole in a conversation, okay? So let's just make sure we have the basics here, okay? Money in politics breeds corruption. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is historically proven. We see it in our face with Elon Musk, the richest, wealthiest person on earth, okay, who wants to live on Mars, is literally corrupting our government as we see it, and people are turning a blind eye to it. Like it almost feels like I'm talking to myself, because Republicans, Democrat voters, and anything in between will tell you, yes, our government is broken, and a part of it is corruption. Money is what's driving the greed within people. If they're presented with millions of dollars, they're not worried about you, regular folks like you and I. That's obvious. I mean, you can watch that in a Disney movie. It's obvious. You understand this. But once again, we're allowing Elon Musk to officially but unofficially be a part of the government. You know what I'm saying? It's like an example that I used before. Like, if you ever go to prison, which I hope you don't. I've never been myself, but I have heard, if you go to prison and you see a piece of chocolate on your pillow, do not eat the chocolate. Set it aside, just to scream, hey, thank you, but no thank you. Because if you eat it, okay, and you enjoy it, somebody's gonna want a favor back. Okay, like I don't need to get more explicit than that, but they're gonna want a favor, and that favor might be that ass, like literally. You know what I'm saying? So, well, why do you think differently when it comes to government and politicians? They're giving millions of dollars from these AIPACs for a reason, for a favor, not because they're amazing people. You know what I'm saying? Like, that piece of chocolate's not on your pillow because they like you. No, be smarter than that. So let's go ahead and hear from, hey, good old Bernie Sanders and Jon Stewart, which a lot of people have been saying he should run for president, which I would like to see that. You know what I'm saying? But once again, when it comes to Bernie Sanders, hey, you can say what you want. You can say this and this and this and whatever. And some of it I might even agree. But you can't say this dude hasn't been the definition of consistency. I mean, hey, I thought I'm pretty consistent, you know, like, but this guy right here, if you can do something and have a message for as long as he has, one, that shows how broken our system is, because it's pretty basic. It's not like he's asking for the world, but then he is consistent with his message because he actually believes it, which is, hey, I know it's crazy for a politician to actually mean what they say, but if I was a betting man, I would believe he actually believes that. So let's go ahead and hear this conversation, and excuse the window blinds here. This is for copyright purposes, so I can show this video, because YouTube doesn't like that. So just deal with it, all right?
John, the issue is A, the reality, and B, that we don't talk about the reality. Okay, here's reality. You want to hear reality?
Man, please.
Over the last 50 years, 50 years, despite huge increases in worker productivity as a result of technology, the average blue-collar worker today, in inflation adjusted for dollars, is earning maybe the same, maybe a hair less than he or she did 50 years ago. How's that?
Not good.
It's horrible. It's unbelievable.
Right.
And at the same time, there has been a $50 trillion transfer of wealth from the bottom 90% to the top 1%. Got that? Massive transfer of wealth. So ordinary people may not have, know that, but they know that there is something fundamentally wrong. They're getting screwed. They had a good job in a factory. That factory's in China, and the very wealthiest people are becoming wealthier. That's the kind of angst that Trump was able to pick up on.
And to add on that is not only that Trump was able to capitalize off of that messaging, he gave his voters an enemy to like physically see and physically point at, which is immigration, which is, black and brown people, trans people, gay people. Like, it's all their faults. It's not big corporation doing what they need to do for their shareholders, for their own pockets. No, of course not. It can never be a CEO. I mean, when was the last time you really liked your boss? Me neither. You know what I'm saying? So like, in what world do people who voted for Trump and not understand that and just say, you know what? It is these poor people who's coming from a broken country to come here to start a new life. No, it's their fault and not the people who are making hand over motherfucking fist every year. Just look back during COVID, how much Elon Musk, Amazon, Jeff Bezos, how much did they make in a single day during the start of the pandemic? It is gross on how much they made in one day, not a year. That one day was ridiculous, but people still got the nerve to blame immigrants. The stupidity of people is just crazy to me. But okay, I digress. Let's continue.
And do you think it's, when they talk about we have to defend democracy, but if the people believe that our democracy is a kind of soft oligarchy, and quite frankly, not even that soft, it appears to be an oligarchy. And do they think, well, what am I actually defending here? We need not incremental changes. We need fundamental reform.
John, that's exactly right. And in fact, there was a poll I saw in the New York Times a couple of months ago before the election. Something like 45% of the American people said democracy is not working for them. So what does democracy mean? Does it mean a big deal? You're going to go out and vote every 2 years, every 4 years? It means that the government is supposed to represent me. I feel good about it. I have people there who know what I'm dealing with and are passing legislation that improves my life. Do you think most people in America believe that's the case now? They don't and they shouldn't. Because not only do you have an economic system which is rigged, you got a political system which is corrupt. And again, we don't talk about it enough, but anybody who paid attention to this last election saw a few hundred billionaires, a few hundred people spending tens and tens of billions of dollars to elect the candidates of their choice. And you're the ordinary guy out there. Maybe you got to vote. So what does that matter when big money is buying elections? So your point is exactly right. Democracy is not some abstract idea. Oh, isn't it great? I can vote every 4 years. No, democracy is supposed to represent my interest. Most people don't think that it is.
And it's weird when I engage in conversations with people, like they'll tell me like, you can't depend on the government. The government is not there to take care of you and to meet your every single needs. To a certain extent, I understand that. You know what I'm saying? Like, the government isn't responsible to pay my rent or to pay my light bill. I get that. I got to go out there and work, make my money. I understand that. But when rent is too damn high, when food prices is out of control, when these corporations are just abusing their workers, what do? Like, I can't go to Walmart and tell them to lower their damn prices because people can't afford it. I can't go to my landlord and say, hey, why is my rent increasing by like $100 and something every single year, and I'm not making that much in every single year. So are they going to listen to me? No, of course not. Don't fool yourself, because I done tried it and they said, hey, that's just the way it is. So we do need government to a further extent to handle the things that me as a citizen alone can't control. Everything else, yeah, is my responsibility. But when it comes to the things that is out of my control, like where my tax money goes, and I don't want it going to Israel, I want it to going to roads that I have to drive on, to schools that I send my that I send my kids to. I want my money to go there. So once again, some things is out of your control, and I need a responsible government to do their job as we vote them to do. That's simple.
And Bernie, do you think this is a customer service issue? Is this an issue of being so removed from? I mean, if you were to look at, and I've looked at these kinds of tax bills where they'll lay out the 8 tranches of where your tax money might go. Well, the first 5 of them don't really impact people's lives. How do you create a system of government where, there are tons of people in European countries who receive social services far beyond what we ever provide in the United States, pay higher taxes, but express much greater satisfaction. Can our democracy deliver for its customers, or are we stuck with a kind of more autocratic, oligarchic system? How do you make that argument for people when they don't believe that it can function efficiently?
All right, John, that is a really, really important question. Maybe the most important question.
Let's spend some time on it, Senator.
Damn it, let's do it.
Damn it, let's do it, Senator.
Damn it, let's do it. I just wanted to add that in there. They were getting excited. I want to get excited too. All right, just okay. Don't judge me.
All right. So the first point you made is that it is important for us to do what the corporate media often doesn't do, and take a look at what's going on around the rest of the world in many wealthy countries. You take what I consider to be maybe the most fundamental right, and that is healthcare. All right. So if you go out and poll people, and I do, is healthcare a human right? Should every American be entitled to healthcare, whether they're rich or poor, young or old? And you know what the American people say? They say, yeah.
Yes, of course.
We do believe that.
Right.
And yet you'll have, to your point, very few people in Congress, in the Democratic Party, in the Republican Party, who really say, healthcare is a human right. The function of healthcare should not be to make huge profits for the insurance companies and the drug companies, but to provide quality care to all people. Now, you know what? That's a hard thing to do for any country on earth. No system is perfect. Mm-hmm. But we have got to establish the premise healthcare is a human right, not just a commodity for large corporations to make money from. If you could do that, if people understood that they lived in a society in which they had healthcare as a human right, that in itself, John, would be a profound transformation of people's attitude toward government.
Right.
I cannot tell you, having run for president, you hold 1 million meetings all over the country. Hearing the heartbreak of people who leave hospital hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and they go bankrupt because they were dealing with cancer. Does anybody think that makes sense? All right. We lose 60,000 people a year because they don't go to a doctor when they should. Meanwhile, we're spending twice as much per person on healthcare. This is an issue we are not even discussing, let alone figuring out how we can go forward. So to answer your question, if government begins to deliver for people, they say, hey, you know what? Maybe democracy works. Maybe I'm going to get involved. If it doesn't, if it just delivers for the rich, who the hell cares? What do I need?
And he brings up a good point, and that's one thing that I was highly disappointed in this entire election cycle, and even the one before. And honestly, almost I don't want to blame Trump for where politics in the conversation has shifted, but like it seems like in my young history, it's kind of started with him. And we spend more time talking about trans individuals playing sports than we do people dying because they're not getting the health care or the treatment or being seen when they need it because they're afraid of bills. Do you understand that? We live in the wealthiest country and people are dying because they're afraid of bills. The little pieces of paper that get sent to you through the mail, they die opening stuff. Like I know I do. When I collect my mail, every other day, and I see a envelope that I'm not sure of, I start to sweat. Be like, is this another motherfucking bill from somewhere way beyond saying, hey, you owe some money? Like, people don't want that when they're barely making it. So once again, trans playing in sports or healthcare, trans in bathrooms or bills that's going to make me have to decide either the bill or rent. I'm gonna take the latter. You know what I'm saying? Like, once again, our conversations is being steered purposely to not have those important conversations. So our government officials, Democrat and Republican, don't have to work as hard. That's simple. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next portion here, which is 1502.
Power of multinational global corporate interest. And there really isn't anything that is other than government that has the size and hopefully the will. Look, the system that we have chosen to generate profit is a powerful one. And it, as you very adeptly pointed out earlier, generates an incredible amount of wealth. But very clearly that system has victims and collateral damage.
Yep.
And it feels like government's role should be to support those victims and the collateral damage and somehow be a check.
Right.
No, but John, what are the Republicans are gonna say? That's too much government. Government's not there to help you when you're in need, because you're at the bottom of this weird totem pole that man has created. No, that's too much government, guys.
On this larger corporate entity.
But the corporate world understands exactly what you said, and that's why they're trying to buy the government. So in some ways, you can almost look at government today as a result of Citizens United, as the House of the Senate, as employees of large corporations and wealthy people. I mean, that's what, if you're a billionaire, you could start a super PAC, put hundreds of millions of dollars into an effort to defeat, say, Sherrod Brown in Ohio or other candidates, or AIPAC. If you disagree with what Netanyahu is doing in Gaza, well, you're going to have to deal with AIPAC, who's prepared to spend $17 million in a bloody Democratic caucus. You want to stand up to AIPAC? Good luck to you. So that gets back to...
Once again, that is nothing but facts. How do you beat that? You know what I'm saying? Like, people always want to demonize the Democratic Party as a whole, which in some conversations I understand. But we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's plenty of people in the Democratic Party. I can't say for the Republican. I don't know. I haven't seen none. Let me know if there is some. But there is some that will stand up for Palestinian rights, that will stand up for higher wages. But they're getting beaten by people who would take on big money from these super PACs. They will take that money, and like I said, that piece of chocolate on your pillow, you take that chocolate, you're going to owe something in some way, shape, or form. And that's usually, your votes against certain bills or to stand on a position. You have to do that. So once again, we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, and we got to pay attention
to money in politics, how horrific Citizens United has been, not only in allowing billionaires to buy elections, but to intimidate people. You want to stand up to the drug companies? Fine. They're going to put a whole lot of money to defeat you. You prepared to do that? Well, maybe I don't want to do that. That's where we are at.
Senator, do you think it's fair to say, even before Citizens United, that, kind of money talks, bullshit walks? Like, the government had been captured by these sort of moneyed interests for a very long time. I mean, even back to our founding, it's been
God, it's always been the case. It
That's
goes
right.
without saying. The rich have the power. But Citizens United and these super PACs have made a very bad situation much, much worse.
So let's talk about how.
All right. Beautiful, beautiful. Once again, if you guys want to watch this whole thing, hopefully I remember. If I don't, let me know in the comments nicely. Don't be an asshole about it, because I forget, okay? I'm a one-man army over here, okay? Just let me know in the comments and I got you. But of course, if you want to watch the whole thing, but let's go to our next point. Boom, right there.
Yeah. And, there was something I was talking about with somebody recently, which was maybe the way to deal with this is, I don't know that we'll ever be able to fully regulate the money on it, but maybe we can regulate the time. What if we just made the election cycles much smaller so that it's not a permanent campaign? And look, the Supreme Court has watered down any of our corruption statutes. I mean, unless you literally write on a piece of paper, I'm going to give you $1 million for this exact legislative outcome, it's considered business as usual.
Which hey, I don't know if it's the cynical in me, but I don't even think that would push the needle any, because people have gotten so normalized to any type of corruption to where it's just like, it just happens and people just accept it. So, yeah.
I mean, they've basically legitimized all corruption.
Look, if somebody says to me, Bernie, I want you to vote for this bill, here's a $5 check. That's bribery. If somebody says, hey, Bernie, I'm willing to start a super PAC for you, put $200 million into it, perfectly legal. That's absurd.
Right. And let me take you on a little trip.
I want to comment on your length of campaigns. Again, it is no secret that in the UK, in Canada, and many other countries, the length of time of their campaigns is much, much less. And I think in one way or another, that's what we've got to do. The idea that, literally the 2026 campaign has already started. It never ends. It's perpetual. Your point is well taken. We've got to figure out that as well.
And once again, that's only to the benefit of the politicians and those who are dumping money to them. It's not helping the American people. 9 times out of 10, you may not be like us, to where we kind of dwell and live in politics and policies. But for the regular person, they don't want to hear politics 24/7. They don't want to hear about the races in 2026. We just got finished with a very disappointing one. I don't even want to think about 2026, okay? I'm taking this thing a day at a time. You know what I'm saying? So, once again, I just feel like if what Bernie is supporting, if that's too progressive for people, just to get the big money, the super PACs out of government, if that's doing too much, then damn, okay, I'm a super far leftist. Like, I don't know what to say at that. You know what I'm saying? But the common sense is to protect the American people's interests. That should be number one. And if we can't put up guardrails to do that, then money and greed is going to continue to screw us over. Hey, thank you guys for watching. Once again, I highly appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to watch my content. If you guys want to support me even more, go ahead, become a member. Check out the perks that I set aside for you, such as early access, one-on-one conversations with myself, and even cool emojis you can use in the comment section. Once again, I highly appreciate the future members and you guys even taking the time to watch the content. And like always, let's have that conversation.